I hope you didn't buy homecoming concert tickets because Kent State's homecoming tickets are now free. Find out why students no longer have to pay for the performance.
Auto workers continue to strike across the country. We'll tell you about the strikes and how they're impacting Ohio.
How much sun will we be getting? I have that and more coming up.
If you want to eat Kraft singles, you might want to think again because the product has been recalled for safety reasons. Why the product has been pulled off the shelves.
This is TV2 News.
Good evening, Portage County, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nikki Gotham.
And I'm Josh Aponte.
We start tonight with breaking news. The federal government announced today that COVID tests will be free again starting September 25th. You'll be able to request up to 4 COVID rapid tests per household.
This program was first launched in January of 2022 when the Omicron variant was quickly spreading. For those who still have COVID tests, the FDA suggests you check the expiration dates on the boxes.
And now moving into some Kent State news, the semester is underway and events are in full blast around campus.
Here's our reporter Nikki Gasiewski with more on what's popping around campus. Hey, Nikki.
Hey guys. Yes, we are only a few weeks into the semester, but there have been many events happening this week, along with some good news for students. Kent students were dressing very sharply today in honor of the university hosting an internship, co-op, and job fair. There, students got to network with representatives from major companies like Target, KeyBank, and PepsiCo. In addition to the networking opportunities, students were provided with clothes from the career closet and an opportunity to get their headshots taken. Attendees were able to leave the event with career advice and industry information. In order for students to be confident in business networks, they need to practice self-love and confidence building. To help with that, the Flash Activity Board partnered with the Kent State of Wellbeing to host a self-love jar crafting event in the Rec Center. This was FAB's first Wellness Wednesday collaboration of the school year. The event lasted from 3 to 5 p.m. and featured a $50 gift card raffle. And with more good news, Kent's College of Pediatric Medicine will decrease their tuition for 2024. The university's Board of Trustees approved the 30% tuition decrease today. For the spring 2024 semester, pediatric students' tuition will go from $45,000 to $32,000. This change will make Kent's Pediatric College tuition the lowest among all 11 pediatric colleges in Ohio. Not only is the university being generous with its tuition this year, but also concert tickets. This Saturday, the undergraduate student government fall concert is returning to campus with Maria the Scientist headlining the event. Today, USG announced all tickets for the concert will be free to Kent students only. The concert will begin at 7, and the first 100 tickets scanned at the door will be entered into a raffle to win a free ticket to Flash Fest. For updates on these stories and more, check out KentWire.com. I'm Nikki Gasiewski reporting for TV2 News.
Good evening, Kent State and all of Portage County. My name is Sophia Sainato and I'm here with your Hump Day weather report. Looking at what we've got right now in Kent, Ohio, it is currently 75 degrees and feels that same way as well. Dew points at about 50 degrees. The wind is pretty mild at east of 3 miles per hour. Humidity at only about 43% and full visibility at 10 miles. Moving forward, into the forecast for tomorrow, it's going to be a high of 78 degrees with a big pattern of clouds and sun with some light winds as well. It'll only be about 5 miles per hour in the east-southeast direction, and sunset will be at 7:24 p.m. And now looking at your campus forecast for the day at 8 a.m. tomorrow, it'll be only 56 degrees and partly cloudy as you're heading to those early classes. At 12 noon, it'll jump up to 72, and we'll still have to deal with that pattern of cloud and sun. And then by 4 p.m., it'll only get up to about 77 degrees with, again, that pattern of clouds and sun. So it is getting a little bit warmer on campus, but I would recommend if you've got an 8 a.m. to bring a sweatshirt with you. And that is all I have for now. Stay tuned to see if these temperatures will stay this way moving into next week.
Thanks, Sophia. And Akron Children's Hospital will provide early hearing services. $340,000 are going to the hospital to help with early intervention to children with hearing issues. The early intervention services are located across 55 Ohio counties. The hospital hopes to help young kids with hearing impairments and catch symptoms early on.
Studies show Akron's 5 hotspots for gunfire. Using statistics from the U.S. Census Bureau, studies show that the 5 neighborhoods in Akron recorded the most gunfire in the city. The highest impacted city blocks include South, East, and West Akron, Shern-Bonnie Hill, and Summit Lake. The 5 neighborhoods include 4% of Akron homes and residents, but 13% of the city's reported shootings.
Governor Mike DeWine announced Ohio's second Crime Gun Intelligence Center. CGIC launched this summer and is run by the Ohio Department of Public Safety. The center works with various and national crime and safety government agencies. With the rise of gun crimes in Ohio, one objective of CGIC is to track guns to committed crimes and reduce gun crimes overall.
And Governor Mike DeWine tests positive for COVID-19. According to a press release, the results came Tuesday evening. DeWine started experiencing mild cold symptoms on Monday. Officials said that after the results, DeWine reportedly had a 101-degree fever. The current COVID-19 strain can include symptoms just like that of a head cold. And Ukrainian President Zelensky addressed the United Nations Security Council today, what he told them and what the request he made of the council members later on.
Fires in Hawaii have caused mass devastation, and some students were offered an opportunity they will never get again. Find out more after the break. Am I looking at 3?
Today's top stories.
From an award-winning student newsroom.
This is TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Auto workers are still on strike and have not come to an agreement with the corporate companies. The UWA and General Motors are still working on negotiations, regulations, and pay. CNN's Gabe Cohen reports on how local families are affected.
My favorite toy.
April Kolzak's morning ritual hasn't changed.
Your toothbrush, which one's yours?
But providing for her 3 boys
Getting down to the bare minimum here.
just got much more difficult.
I have to check my bank account every day.
This third-generation Jeep worker and single mom typically makes about $19 an hour working an overnight shift at the Stellantis factory.
Hopefully we get back to work.
But with her plant now on strike, April has to figure out a way to live on her union-provided strike pay. Just $500 a week, roughly half, she says, of what she's used to.
It's not much when you have 3 kids.
Oh, definitely not, no.
You're really tightening the belt right now.
Yeah, yes. Every dollar, every cent is accounted for, whether it goes for food, electric, gas, rent. It's ketchup and hot dogs instead of having ketchup, hot dogs, and applesauce. You know, it's just like, it's like one less thing on the plate.
No wheels, no deal.
Close to 5,800 Toledo auto workers are striking, and many face a similar financial strain.
I'll be out there as long as I need to.
It's already squeezing neighborhood businesses like Zinger's Bar and Grill, located near the plant. Factory workers typically drop in for lunch or after their shifts.
How much is business down?
It's down probably about a good, 65 to 70%.
Violet Wagner has been a bartender here for more than 30 years.
I'm just praying that they come to some type of agreement and that it gets better. Because if not, I may have to look for other employment as well.
Beyond these picketers, Toledo is home to a network of auto suppliers that are starting to feel the impact of the strike, with thousands already losing work. Local government officials estimate a month-long strike could cost the Toledo area economy about $36 to $50 million.
This is Toledo. It's a union town. We have a great history of supporting our workforce.
County Commissioner Pete Gherkin shows his solidarity, having worked at this factory for 30 years.
When these workers voted to go out, they knew that. They knew that. This was not a naive audience. And they are clever enough and resourceful enough.
The local union is now building a food pantry, piling up donations for any struggling workers.
I signed up for Instacart.
Some, like Erica Mitchell, feel the need to line up temporary jobs in case the strike drags.
I still want to find something else to do while my kids are at school to make a couple extra dollars to cover, just surprises. With kids, you never know what can happen.
And when I got into Jeep, it was like, yes, finally, like my dad did it, my grandpa did it, now I can finally give my kids the same opportunity.
Like many of these workers, April says she's prepared to weather this short-term pain, hopeful an agreement can be reached soon.
It's only temporary. We're going to get back to work. I try to keep that positive mindset as much as I can.
With shooting deaths continuing around the country, some technology is being used for response teams. Here's CNN's Hunter Sowards with more.
Shot spotter activation.
It's not a new tool, but it's one the Sacramento Sheriff's Office is using now more than ever.
This doesn't target any certain groups. This doesn't target anything other than gunshots in areas that we know are impacted by gun violence.
In recent weeks, shootings shattering the feeling of safety for many neighborhoods, from Rio Linda to a triple homicide in Arden Arcade to South Sacramento.
The ShotSpotter technology takes our response to a whole new level.
Here's a real-time example.
ShotSpotter activation 3945 48th Avenue for 1 round.
So how does it work?
Our sensors are spread out around areas that have historically suffered high rates of gun crime.
That's retired ATF agent Tom Chittum, now working with the company behind the technology.
With your average 911 call, the details can be pretty sketchy. It sounded like gunfire. It happened somewhere.
We're not simply relying on 911 calls or, people with gunshot wounds showing up at the hospital to learn that a crime's occurred. We're learning about these things in real time.
Sending an alert to patrol officers' phones.
We've had ShotSpotter teams that have responded and are there in the middle of a firefight.
With a precise location of where to respond.
And the accuracy it's amazing. It's within feet.
And time saved can mean lives saved.
We know about 80 to 90% of gunfire in urban areas goes unreported to police. Those are lots of missed opportunities that police have to hold somebody accountable.
While technology is helping, law enforcement calling for backup in the form of legislative change.
There needs to be tougher laws in sentencing. We're catching these same people first time, second time, third time.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky calls for Russia's United Nations veto power to be suspended. Zelensky said that during Wednesday's UN meeting in cases of mass atrocities against human rights. Russia is expected to not give up the power voluntarily. The UN is unable to stop the war because all efforts are vetoed by Russia.
In cases of mass atrocities against human rights, veto power should be voluntarily suspended, but we can also observe that Russia will not give up this stolen privilege voluntarily. Therefore, the UN General Assembly should be given a real power to overcome the veto. This will be the first necessary step. If it is impossible to stop the war because all efforts are vetoed by the aggressor,
Officials in a disputed ethnic Armenian enclave of Azerbaijan are saying that the government is carrying out a genocide. After a military operation in the region killed at least 27 people and wounded 200 others, Azerbaijan says it's fighting terrorism and has no plans to stop until military forces inside Nagorno-Karabakh raise a white flag.
President Joe Biden is offering a warm welcome to Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two are in New York for a United Nations General Assembly. Their talk Wednesday marks their first bilateral meeting since Netanyahu returned to office. Biden is reiterating his support for Israel while also criticizing his friend of some 40 years for controversial judicial reform efforts.
Millions of American homeowners could see insurance rates surge in the next coming years, in part due to the worsening climate disasters. Major insurers have already pulled out or stopped writing new policies in California, Florida, Louisiana, in part citing increases in climate risks like more destructive wildfires and stronger hurricanes. Other states like Vermont, Kentucky, and West Virginia have experienced costly flooding recently.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at our temperatures in Northeast Ohio right now. Sitting at 75 is Cleveland and Ashtabula. Kent is sitting at 74 right now. We're cooling down just a little bit. Wadetown is sitting at 76, and so is Canton, and Worcester sitting at 76 as well. Mansfield's up at 77, and Sandusky is over to 82. Moving into the full state of Ohio, Akron is sitting at 76 degrees and Steubenville is at 77. Athens is at 79 and Columbus is at 81. Reaching those higher temperatures in the 80s are Lima, Dayton, and Cincinnati at 82, 83, and 84 degrees respectively. Heading into your 7-day forecast, tomorrow we have a high of 78 with a low of 55 with some clouds and sun mixing in together. Friday will be a high of 76 with about the same, as well as Saturday with a high of 73 degrees. On Sunday we'll have a little bit more sun than we'll be dealing with in the next few days with a high of 73. And then Monday will be a high of 71 with some clouds returning. On Tuesday we have a chance of rain and a high of 70 degrees. And on Wednesday we're going to start to cool down with a high of 65 degrees. And that finishes up my report for this week. Reporting from the Franklin Hall studio, I'm Sophia Sainato. Back to you, Kennedy.
Thanks, Sophia. It's been more than a month since deadly wildfires swept across Maui, leaving behind a trail of destruction, leaving 97 dead. On Tuesday, the University of Hawaii surprised nearly 200 high school seniors in Lahainau with a tremendous opportunity. All students were offered a full ride scholarship to the University of Hawaii, and students from the high school have been attending classes at a temporary site after the August 8th wildfires destroyed their school.
The White House is issuing a stark warning about the looming government shutdown. Lawmakers are struggling to reach a consensus on a plan before funding expires on September 30th. If they don't, the White House says active duty, military, federal law enforcement personnel, air traffic controllers, and TSA officers would have to work without pay. House GOP leaders are planning to vote on the proposed funding bill this week. Many conservative members have already threatened to prevent it from coming to the floor.
And flu season is upon us, and experts are predicting the numbers this season will be up. Experts are urging citizens to get their flu shots to prevent against illness. CNN's Health Minute has more.
It's that time of year again. RSV, COVID-19, and flu, a potential triple threat this fall.
We want to get ahead of it and encourage people to get a flu shot now.
Last flu season, there were at least 27 million flu cases, 300,000 flu hospitalizations, and 19,000 deaths related to flu. While the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that vaccinations reduce the risk of flu hospitalization by about 50%, fewer than half the country got the flu shot last season. The CDC says September and October are optimal times to be vaccinated.
We're actually expecting that the flu shot that we have available will work very well and be very effective once the flu is in the Northern Hemisphere.
The CDC says the African American and Hispanic communities are at higher risk for serious outcomes from the flu, but have been less likely to get vaccinated. Barriers such as the lack of insurance or transportation and the inability to take off from work are believed to have played a role. State health departments, community health centers, and local pharmacies all have flu shots available. To find one closest to you, the agency says to check getmyflushot.org.
It's a way to just be prepared, knowing that the flu is coming.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A study relating women's health shows that ultra-processed foods can be linked to depression. The study examined the diets of nearly 32,000 middle-aged women. When the researchers looked at specific ultra-processed foods and drinks, also known as UPFs. Only those made with artificial sweeteners were associated with an increased risk of depression. Experts outside of the study says it's also possible that depression and high junk and comfort foods. American Foods Group, LLC, is warning about a possible E. coli contamination in 58,000 pounds of its ground beef. The recall comes after a sample batch of beef tested positive for E. coli. The raw ground beef items in question were produced on August 14th, and it's shipped to distributors in Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio.
Kraft Heinz has recalled their individually wrapped Kraft singles. They were recalled because of the choking hazard. The machine produces the single wrap cheese has malfunctioned, causing the plastic wrapper to stick to the cheese. The machine causing the malfunction has since been fixed, but the cheese in stores may have plastic stuck to it. And, you know, that's why I don't eat cheese.
An Arkansas high school teacher has been working on repopulating an endangered species of snake. The teacher Chance Duncan says the Louisiana pine snakes are perhaps the rarest in the U.S. Duncan had a breakthrough this summer when the female snake laid some eggs, which led to 4 baby Louisiana pine snakes. Now students at the school will be extracting DNA from them to confirm that they are indeed pine snakes. This internet sensation finally has a new home in Gator. What she's been up to.
And with the loss of Nick Chubb, the Browns signed a familiar face earlier today. We tell you who it is.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
Statement this morning regarding the arrest of President of Basketball Operations Kobe Altman.
The statement says that the team members are held to a high standard of conduct and they will await the resolution of the legal process.
Altman was arrested and charged with operating a vehicle while impaired on Friday night after allegedly committing a marked lanes violation and denying a breathalyzer test.
His attorney entered a non-guilty plea on his behalf, and a virtual pretrial hearing is scheduled for September 27th at 10 a.m.
Well, Kennedy, that's not the only thing for Cleveland sports fans to be disappointed about from this past weekend.
Yeah, Josh, you're right. The Browns, Cavs, Guardians, nothing much to cheer about. Matt, I hope you have some better news for us about sports.
Yeah, guys, definitely concerning on campus. We'll have some good news for Kent State because right now may not be the best time to be a Cleveland sports fan, but hopefully we'll put a little smile on your face in the latest round of sports news. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Crawley, and this is what's happening in the world of sports. As we start with Kent State women's soccer, as they will open conference play tomorrow afternoon in Athens, squaring off against the Ohio Bobcats. The Golden Flashes are tied for second in the standings at 3-2-2 and are coming off a 2-1 home win over Duquesne on September 10th. But on the other side, Ohio comes in tied for fifth at 2-3-2 and are coming off a 1-0 loss at John Carroll that same day. Kickoff is set for 4 o'clock and you can catch all the action on ESPN+. Well, let's go keeping things in Dick Stadium, mind you. The Mid-American Conference has announced that the Flashes' next home football game against Miami will kick off at 2:30, and many promotions are scheduled to take place. It'll be Parents and Family Weekend. Those who will register will receive a complimentary belt bag, take part in the pregame tailgate, and will receive a free sundae at halftime. Other promotions include local high school marching bands performing with the Marching Golden Flashes before the game and at halftime, and a pregame youth cheer and dance clinic taking place right next door at the Fieldhouse. It should be a fun Saturday afternoon. Let's now go to the high school level as the competition in Portage County boys soccer is heating up. Field took down Coventry 1-0 last night thanks to Logan Lonsdrake's second half goal and are now 4-1 in the Metro Athletic Conference and are only 1 point behind first place Norton with the last league game upcoming. Streetsboro took down Woodridge 7-0 thanks to a hat trick from Peyton Krzemski and a shutout from keeper Justin Brugman. Aurora beat Talmadge 5-2, and Rootstown tied with Lake Center Christian at 2 apiece. One of Kent State's legends is one step closer to football immortality. Former Golden Flash Antonio Gates is one of 9 first-year eligible nominees that could be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2024. Gates is one of 273 members who could be donning a gold jacket next summer, and the crazy thing is, he only played basketball at his time at Kent State. After going undrafted, Gates was a 3-time first-team All-Pro, an 8-time Pro Bowler, and was named to the 2000s All-Decade team. And let's go up north. After losing running back Nick Chubb to a season-ending leg injury in Monday night's game against the Steelers, the Browns signed a running back and they picked up an old friend. Kareem Hunt was signed by the team today on a 1-year, $4 million deal as the signing comes as a reunion of sorts. Hunt was the Browns' number 2 back behind Chubb, spending the last 4 seasons with the team. He rushed for over 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns with the Orange and Brown, and will spend this season as the team's primary halfback. Well, that'll do it for us at Sports. For more TV2 Sports coverage, follow us across social media at TV2 KSU Sports. For TV2 Sports, I'm Matt Corrali, saying wherever the ball flies in the air, TV2 Sports will be there. Good night.
Caviar and Pringles, the TikTok trend has become a reality. Find out more about this strange combination after the break. And thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time we have for TV2 News tonight.
Follow us on all of our socials at Kent Wired. And for more updates on these stories, check out kentwired.com. I'm Josh Aponte.
And I've been Kennedy Gotham for TV2 News. Have a great night, Portage County.